Hello everybody, this is S'tayarr Ereth, the creator of the game Clash Yunval. Today in this video I'm going to show you guys the box and the contents of it so you know what you get when you purchase the game on thegamecrafter.com. Here's the box. Historia X Asterisk, the first set. Contains 108 cards. And it will say there's 106 unit cards, 42 different uniques, and 2 rule cards. Do note that the box does not come with the dice, so you'll need 6-sided dice for each player. And you might want to have some kind of tokens or counters to keep track of different effects, or keeping track of score, like what's in your star bank and how many stars you have. Let's take a look inside. Alright, so when you get these from the Game Crafter, they'll be in a random order. So I already pre-sorted it. The contents of every box is the same. So the first two cards I go through will be the rule cards. These will have all the basic rules you need in order to play the game. When you purchase the game on the Game Crafter, it'll have a PDF that will have the same rules, just a larger format, and a few extra pages for the advanced rules, and a summary of each of the units, so that for more complicated interactions, it'll give you a more complete guide on how to resolve some of those more complex situations. So we'll go through the stack of the units. They're in the correct order, and again, they won't be in the correct order when you receive them, but you will receive all these cards. There's no randomness to it. The Archangel, 2 copies of that. Valiant, 2 copies of that. Those 2 are like the bosses of the white units. And you have Shieldmate, 3 copies. You have Paladin, again 3 copies of that. Enforcer, Sentinel. Keep this nice and tidy here. Surgeon, 3 copies again. And the majority of the units will be in sets of 3. When you're playing the game, there's no max limit of how many cards you can have in a stack. You only need 1 of these game boxes for a group of 2 to 6 players. Players could provide their own game boxes if they want. You can custom tailor the deck that everyone shares. So you could have a deck that all players are playing from that could have like 9 or so or more copies of certain cards. You could just get crazy with some of the interactions. But a number of copies in the set is balanced out to ensure a more balanced gameplay experience, whether it's 2 or 6 players. So now I have Darling, 3 copies of that. Potioner, and it should be the last white card in this part of the stack. There's the singletons later on. You got Necrobruiser. Now begin the red. There's 2 of those. Invader. And if you've been following me at all on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., I have some like the little mini-series going through some of these cards in more detail. Aethon. 3 of those. Evil Eye. Hoodlum, Magenta, Skeleton, and I'm planning on, hopefully soon, try to get some gameplay videos up, try to arrange for some of the other playtesters to stop on by, and we'll get some actual gameplay sessions for you. If I can't get anything too soon, because people's schedules, whatnot, then I'll try to get a 2-player game demo myself for you guys so you see the game in action. We got Helion. 3 of those. Bane. And I'm sure you guys will need to pause the video and whatnot to be able to actually read the cards, but it should come through pretty crisp. You should be able to read them just fine. That should be it for red. Alright, in green, start off with Golem. Again, the 2 bosses essentially for each of the colors, so 2 golems. Big Cheese, 2 of those. Dryad, should be 3. Sewer Croc. 3 of those as well. Kunoichi. 3. Spider. Sylvan. Get this in order again. That's quite a lot of cards. It's hard to keep it even. Mandrake. And I do believe Slime is the last one for green. There we go. Yep. 3 of those. Now the last of the 4 colors. Blue. We'll have Forger. 2 bosses again. 2 copies of Forger. 2 copies of Adept. 3 copies of Genie. Warlock. Fire Pixie. Vulcan Seer. Phantom. Gravity. 3 copies of that as well. And Architect. There. That's the last hit for blues. Then we get into the singletons. We got the singleton of white, Merchant. Single of Mimic. Another single of Dwarf. And of course a single of Game Gizmo. Then we got the supers. Supers are a little different than the other 4 colors. The label is, of course, the super type, and they function just like any other of the other units. They just have this special treatment because they're particularly more powerful than the rest. And there's 2 supers in each of the sets. So the supers for the first set is Shepherdess, 1 copy, and 1 copy of Massacre. Alright, that's all the cards in the first set. And again, as I said, you only need 1 box for a group of 2 to 6 players. Games tend to last about 6 to 8 turns, going all the way around. Game lengths, especially once you are more familiar with rules, they'll average around close to the 30-minute mark. So the games can be a little quick, not too long, so you get plenty of time to play more games with your play group. So nothing too long or drawn out there. And like I said earlier, the other supplies you'll need, but aren't included in the box. You're going to need some 6-sided dice. You could have 1 per player, although I advise about 2 or 3 per player, because some of the units require more dice to be rolled. Although you can just roll 1 at a time if you want, rather than rolling all of them at the same time. Anything you want to use really to keep track of stars. You don't have to use physical objects. You could use like an app on your phones. But I use these golden dice since the golden stars kind of fits, helps keep track of the score. And then something to help keep track of some of the effects, again, unnecessarily shiny, but very, very obvious and visible. So some cards, especially like Warlock or Spider, they'll target a certain other unit, and sometimes it's nice to be able to mark, 1 card to indicate, like pretend this is Spider and this is its victim target, so then players know who's still targeting who for the lasting effects. And yeah, that's all you really need to play the game. Pretty light, straightforward. The rules are really simple. It can be a little bit more involved in the strategy department, so some of the newer players to the genre of the strategy card games might take a little bit of getting used to. For the most part, it's draw 1, play 1, like some other card games that follow that model. But it can definitely get a lot more immersive and crazy with the combos. And the interactions between the different cards really do matter. Yeah, so this is all the cards in the first set. And you can find the game on thegamecrafter.com. The details will be in the description below. And the game is going for currently $29.99 in US dollars. It's a fairly reasonable price. It might be a little bit more than some of the other games in the comparable number of cards in the Game Crafter, but I felt like with enough research with other games of similar scale and complexity in the market, this is a reasonable enough price. Thank you for your time looking at the video, and hope to see you guys in the future looking at other videos of gameplay demos, etc. for me. Thank you. Have a good day.